In this video, I'll go through the basic features and functionalities you'll want in a workshop for building small boats. First of all, you'll need to have a space for the boat that you're building, and you'll want some space around it. Around 3 feet or 1 meter of free space all the way around is enough to allow you to work comfortably on the boat from all sides. If your space allows you to view your boat from a bit of a distance, it's ideal because it makes it a lot easier to evaluate the shape of the boat as you're building it. Also, it's great if your space is big enough for you to turn around the longest pieces of wood that you'll be using for your boat. My workshop is only 3.5 meters wide and the canoe is almost 4.5 meters long. So when I have full-length planks, I need to go outside to turn them around. It is doable, but it's of course not ideal. The next feature you'll want in a boat building workshop might seem ridiculously obvious. You need to make sure that you can get your boat out of the workshop once it's completed. Supposedly, boats have been built that have ended up forever stuck in the shop. My canoe here just barely makes it around the corner. You don't necessarily need to have your own stationary machines to build your first boat. But if you do have a bandsaw or a thickness planer, you'll want to have sufficient infeed and outfeed space to process planks the full length of the boat. My machines are on wheels, so I can move them to the middle of the shop when I'm processing long curved pieces. A lot of the work you'll do will take place on the boat itself. But you'll also need a workbench where you can prepare the pieces that will go into the boat. In small boat building, you'll often work with pieces that are as long as the boat you're building. If you have a bench that's as long as that, it's ideal. If you have a workbench that isn't very long, you can get by with that too. A sawhorse can be used as a bench extension to support long work pieces. If you plan to work with hand tools, your workbench needs to be stable and rigid. You will exert a lot of force on the workpiece, especially when you work with hand planes. I like to have my main workbench in the middle of the room so I can work from any side of it. Most boat shops just have long benches along the walls like this one. They're often made of simple 2-inch construction lumber and fixed to the wall and to the floor. This is a cheap and easy way to get a sturdy and very functional boat building workbench. If you build your own workbench, it's a good idea to try to get it flat, straight and level. It'll be sure to come in handy, especially when you're doing glue-ups on it. The workbench will need to have some sort of vise. I have a wonderful leg vise on my main workbench. But for a lot of boat building tasks, a metalworking vise with some soft padding works great because it makes it easier to work the odd-shaped pieces that a boat is made of. The next thing you'll need is storage, both for your wood and for your tools and materials. I have this shelving that I use for long pieces of lumber, but anything goes as long as it suits the space that you have available. I've put some time into making some wall racks for my most used hand tools. This is simply a way to try to avoid messing up the place. If it's easy enough to put the tool back in its proper place, I tend to do that instead of just leaving it on the bench when I'm done with it. Building small wooden boats usually involves a bit of metalworking too. So if it's possible for you, it's great to have a dedicated space for that. I have a small metalworking section in my shop where I keep my sharpening equipment, my bench grinder, my metalworking tools and a vise. This makes it easier for me to work efficiently and to keep metal dust and dirt away from the other parts of the shop. A few final things you'll want to consider for your workshop is lighting, electricity and heating. You need good light to work accurately. If you have natural light, it's great. But you'll probably still want general electric lighting plus a focused lamp for doing detail work. Electricity is obviously necessary for lighting and for power tools. My workshop is heated, but I've previously worked out of unheated workshops and that worked fine too. If you'll be working from an unheated shop, there are a few things that you need to consider. First of all, glues, paints and varnishes should never get below the freezing point. If your shop gets cold in the winter, you'll probably want to store these things in a heated space. Most glues can be used at quite low temperatures, as long as it's above the freezing point. The cure time especially with epoxy, gets a lot longer. Paints and varnishes are usually formulated so that they work best at around room temperature. But if you work in a very cold or a very hot shop, the flow and drying properties of most paints or varnishes can be adjusted with thinners or additives. So those were the functional basics for a boat building workshop. But you will be spending a lot of time in this shop, so I feel that it's important to also take a bit of time to consider how to make it as comfortable and inviting as possible. Keeping it neat and tidy goes a long way. A bit of maritime decor on the walls helps too. Harry Bryan, who designed the fiddlehead canoe, suggests that you have a pondering chair in your shop. Howard Chappell has a similar concept in his boat building book, but he calls it a moaning chair. You can use this chair for moaning when you've made mistakes, or you can use it for coffee breaks, for guests that are stopping by. You can use it for considering the next steps in your project, or for just admiring the beautiful boat that you're building.